touch but don't look. This might be the best way to summarize Korea's stance toward its own sex industry. I've been pretty confused about Korea's apparent war on porn for as long as it's been around, but the more I know, the more confused I get. As far as the law goes, it's not illegal to be in possession of porn, but it's illegal to produce and distribute it. And at the same time, the government has an agency of 300 to 400 people who are blocking pornographic websites. And yet, for some reason, Korea is the world's biggest consumer of porn. And also its own live sex industry in terms of prostitution is thriving. Which is why it seems the government's stance is it's not okay to look at porn, but it's okay to hire prostitutes. Now apparently this anti-porn crusade began after a string of sexual assaults, in which case the assaulters had claimed that they had watched porn ahead of time. I mean, I guess it's common when like some kind of bad things happen and it's connected to something else that suddenly people overreact and they say, well, we have to stop this other thing because it's causing the bad thing. But this is an incredibly slippery slope, especially when it's illogical. But this convinced some people in government that we have to get rid of access to porn to prevent more sexual assault. Even though there's plenty of data to suggest that the proliferation of porn reduces the case of sexual assault. There is also the concern that porn shouldn't be available to minors, which, you know, fair enough, but if a kid's interested enough, they're gonna go searching on the internet. It's up to the parents to try to curb that interest, but there's not that much they can do when there are PC rooms all over the place. Not that I think that, you know, porn needs to be out there, but I don't necessarily understand the need to get rid of it. And I especially don't see the logic in cracking down on that and not cracking down on the sex industry itself. It's kind of like how in the US, I don't care that much about the war on drugs, but I find it completely stupid that the justification for the war on drugs is that drugs are harmful, yet we're not cracking down on alcohol. And it seems like a slippery slope to go after the thing that a criminal says motivated him or encouraged him or that he was exposed to before committing a crime, because that leads to all kind of unreasonable situations. A guy could murder 5 people and then say, oh, before I murdered them, I read one of Shakespeare's tragedies and I was inspired by that. And then what, is the government gonna go around banning Shakespeare? Is it gonna go around banning all plays, classical literature? I do have to wonder who gains from the banning of porn. Is it to strengthen the sex industry? It seems like there needs to be some other kind of motivation, because it doesn't seem apparent that this war on porn will make a big difference or that it can be measured. Is it to encourage the male public to fetishize K-pop girl groups more? Because if you look at what they're wearing in some of those dances, it's not all dissimilar from porn. Is it an effort to improve the birth rate? Because I guess if husbands are only exposed to their own wives. Is it a way to strengthen the film industry? Because they're certainly not cracking down on the content in big film productions. And I've heard that on certain TV stations late at night you can watch softcore porn channels. What's the point of keeping those going if you're banning all other forms? It just seems so terribly inconsistent, and I can't tell how it's measurably effective at all. I don't know if you recall a video I made not too long ago. I said that Korea is getting more sexual but not outwardly sexual, or not admittedly sexual. And this is a perfect example of Korea becoming more repressive as at the same time it's becoming more explicit. It just confuses me. So if you're planning to come to Korea, just remember, touch but don't look.